Welcome to the Ed O'Keefe Show. Transform your mind, accelerate your business, energize your body, and inspire the world. Now here is your host, Ed O'Keefe.
The zero-based thinking concept is probably one of the best concepts that you can apply to every single area of your life, and you can drop friction like crazy on this, okay? And the basic system is this, is knowing what we know now today, wrong strategy. So this was number 3, friction point number 3 is wrong strategy. Sometimes we just have the wrong strategy and we sit there. The biggest problem with having the, I'll just read them. If you have a bad strategy without backup plans and pivots also put into them, you are destined to live by a wait and see strategy. If you feel like we're constantly waiting and seeing, you need to have a little bit of more objective benchmarks to know when it's time to pivot to your next click. Does that make sense? So the problem with the wrong strategy is you end up trying to focus on fixing all the wrong things. Like, and a good example is like, so Goer, and it's amazing, Goer, a traffic expert says, what was it used? Traffic is this, conversions are for...
Somebody said that traffic is for amateurs, conversions are for pros.
Traffic is for amateurs, conversion is for pros. So in the wrong strategy component, you may think you have a good conversion funnel, you just need better traffic, when the fact of the matter is, it's probably your sales process that's the big issue. But instead, you spend the next 3 months learning Pinterest ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, because you think one of these traffic sources is going to magically make the thing over here, appear flawlessly. The reason why we teach modeling and reverse engineering from a business model perspective is that if you aren't following the biggest mistake we made with Inspiredware is we had a concept and then we started creating new stuff, like new sales processes, new referral models, new reward systems. And since it had never really been done that way before, we were making it up as we went along. So I think Justin, who had just left, would probably tell you from a conversion perspective, you need to have the baseline model, business model that you're modeling, whether it's in your industry or a different one, so that you're not trying to be the next wonder kid who's got $1 billion idea. All of those, they're usually modeling something. And the other thing is on your strategy, that's the other side where you have to have people that you feel totally comfortable with saying, here's what I'm thinking, and let them lay it out and get feedback on it. That is the secret to it. So with strategy issues, when you're struggling or when you feel like you're bumping your head against the wall, you have to go through a couple of these great questions, which I would actually challenge the whole group to at least mentally walk through in your business, right? Because the zero-based thinking concept is probably one of the best concepts that you can apply to every single area of your life, and you can drop friction like crazy on this, okay? And the basic system is this, is knowing what we know now today, if we were starting over again, what would we do differently? And then I gave you a couple ideas there. Are there any relationships we wouldn't get into? Are there any customers we wouldn't sell to? Would we be in this? Oh, maybe I need a power cord. Hey, Duke, can you just grab out of my green bag the power cord, please? Or Diana?
These are great questions for interview podcasts.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. Those are awesome. Because there's, I think, did I use Diana's, whose power cord did I use yesterday? But let's just take a minute. I mean, it's in the thing. I'll read them out. But here's the thing. What I've found is, when I was in direct mail, would I go, knowing what I know now, would I go back into the direct mail business today? The answer is probably not, because it doesn't really fit. I don't see my future vision fitting that. So that's out. We tested newspaper ads. We experienced a lot of positive return on ad spend. But knowing what I know now, the amount of issues that we kind of dealt with by being, by the sales copy that they were writing and stuff like that, doesn't really fit who I am, right? Knowing what I know now, would I scale to $3 million a month on one product using CPA offers, or being in the CPA market, using CPA affiliate markets? I don't really think so. I think I would grow much more deliberately and with profit, and I would have a better idea of each source as we scaled it, 3-month and 6-month value. And I wouldn't be so addicted to the idea of let's grow, grow, grow. Those are things I would do differently. That doesn't mean you would. You may, we were talking yesterday about when Duke was asking me questions about, he wasn't asking me questions. Him and Thad were talking about hiring salespeople. Something just popped out of my mouth, which I hadn't really ever said before, but I said, how many of you can name people who run call centers that really are healthy, good, like they look like they're liking life? And most of the times I see guys who do run call centers, they seem to be.
Jimmy, he's the only exception. That's why we wanted to talk.
Yeah. Well, but still to my point, right? So, are we there? Are we there? Here, I'll do it real quick. Don't worry about it. What relationships would you no longer get into that you're currently into? That is a leading indicator, okay? That is a leading indicator, as Brian Tracy would say, that means, if you can say, I would not get into this relationship knowing what I know now today, the question you should be asking after that is, what is the fastest path to getting out of it now? Okay, so.
Forget said it, especially with employees. If you're having the feeling that you think you're going to fire them in the next
you should always
just do it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's already time. It's probably already past due. If it's even a thought in your mind.
Yeah, did you hear that, guys? I mean, you're nodding your head because you run a dental practice, and you have to fire a lot of people that way, and patients. Those guys, they suck. Oh yeah, Kyra, he's nodding too. Yeah. Now, honestly, how many of you have either let go of somebody, fired someone, or they've quit, and you've really regretted it months later? Yeah, not one hand in the room. That's usually an indication of it's just time to part ways. And I think that, it could be done I'm a believer that everybody is on their own path, and that when time's time, usually when someone doesn't enjoy doing what they want to do inside your business anymore, why would you, either of you, continue to stay married to that friction? Because that's all it is. It's friction. And so with friction comes pain in the butt. Customers, I kind of already did that. Would you be in this business, job, relationship? I kind of said all that. So I would love for somebody in the room to have a great breakthrough on these questions, because I know for a fact that making these choices faster rather than slower would dramatically accelerate whatever it is you want in your life to keep appearing. One of the key things there I talk about a lot is you cannot put new clothes in a full closet. Something has to be removed in order for the space in your life to open up, right? We are in the world of where you're being high-fived and patted on the back for being so busy. It's probably one of the biggest diseases that's stifling our creativeness, our ability to create, our growth. And so that quick phrase of knowing what you know now, what would you remove? Would you start it again? Questions are just great ones to do with.
Those are questions, not the exact same wording, but I always ask people that I first meet in business that have a level of success that I haven't obtained, or they have a skill set that I don't have. That gets to the right to the pitfalls where you need to not step. I think I've asked you that several times over the years.
Yeah.
Is what would you do differently with Marine D3?
The only thing is, when you ask some guys like Perry Belcher that question, they'll be like, "Don't go in the supplement business."
There's no money there.
Yeah, there's no money there. Yeah, there's just jail waiting for you. And then if Lloyd was here,
I actually have an issue to you. The jail cell's already issued.
All right, so poor emotional control. So let me ask you a question. This is something I ask. I assume that everybody I meet, I assume if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing good things, that you have great emotional control. I just assume that, and it's probably a false assumption, right? So here's a question, an internal question you got to ask yourself. On a daily basis, what are the top 3 positive emotions you experience, and what are the 3, I'll say, unresourceful emotions that are in your life? And then a question you want to ask yourself is, where do you spend your time emotionally? Are you finding yourself spending more time in unresourceful, resourceful, and this is just a self-inquiry, right? And I'll just go through this real quick. The challenge with poor emotional control, there's a lot of problems with it, and I'll tell you why. Like, you cannot be a high-functioning person if you're constantly in an unresourceful emotional state. The way your brain works, basics are, here's the dendrites in my brain, right? And then they need to communicate to each other for you to think. And so as entrepreneurs, I don't know about you, but like, we have to put out we problem solve. We're professional problem solvers as entrepreneurs, right? So if our dendrites and all the neural pathways can't talk to each other quickly, in which stress, anxiety, worry, fear, all those things, they stifle your ability to communicate, right? So like, the biggest thing is, I'll tell you a little secret or a little thing I do with I was playing volleyball with my 11-year-old daughter, my daughter Grace. And we were just working on serving. Now, what we do a lot is we do like a lot of short court stuff in our backyard. You guys got to see the court if you've never seen it, but like, it's just what I'm doing is I'm installing positive movements in her because I'm directing where the ball goes. She doesn't even know she's learning how to move certain ways and whatever. So then we're serving long distance. In volleyball, the 2 most important skills are your ability to pass, your ability to serve. So we spend a lot of time, it's like serving. But it gets boring if you don't make it fun. So what I said to her is, I ran over, I'm like, hey, okay, so now we're just gonna switch it up where all I want you to do is, the moment you get the ball, you only have 4 seconds to serve. And this is what I want you to focus on. She's like, I go, you're gonna find where I'm standing, so you're gonna look, you're gonna breathe, and you're gonna go. And she goes, well, Mom said you're supposed to sit here and like, find my thing and do a rhythm. I go, yeah, that's totally true when you are playing. Like, you just look, whatever your rhythm is, take your time, boom. And so it's gonna be more than 4 seconds, But what I was doing was I was teaching her just the pattern of look, breathe, go. So what happens there is that you create a pathway of, I don't have time to think about everything that can go wrong, which the biggest error people have, like specifically to serving, is, has anyone ever been to a volleyball game, like ever? Okay. Some of you guys are not nodding your heads, so maybe I'll show a video of it next time. But most parents, when they are yelling from the stands, what do they yell to kids who are getting ready to serve?
Don't knock it out.
Don't miss the serve, don't miss, get it in, so it's a pattern of where's the obstacle, then let them focus on the obstacle. And so what this does is it was just a way of, I didn't give her time, she had to breathe, she had to look, breathe, and go. So unconsciously, she's learned a positive pattern, right? But in our daily lives, if you look where you want to go, and then you start shoving in all the things that can go wrong, and then you add more drama to it, your breath gets taken away from you, and now you're like frozen. And so one of the things I used to do, like in volleyball specifically, I'll just tell you one thing we do, is physiology controls your whole neurology. So if we ever made a mistake, if a kid like shanks an error, she gets aced, her first job at that point was to go like this. Deep breath and take a micro step out of the place where she made the error. So like if she started here the previous play, her job was to come out and literally go like this and find a ball, and then arms come out, and then the words in her mouth are aggressive pass. That's the pattern. But by moving the physiology and getting out of where you made the mistake, you're just resetting. Simple stuff. 99% of the population does not do that. Okay? So the other component of like poor emotional control from a metaphysical perspective is that it stimulates the law of attraction. So if you are finding yourself in frustration, anxiety, and overwhelm, you are only being a beacon of more of that stuff. Did I just move? You are only sending that out. Simultaneously, you are shutting down your ability to think and simultaneously send out the energy pattern that this is what you want more of in your life. So the problem with that, of this, and why it becomes challenging is that if you get really comfortable every time I see Chris, and all we do is bitch about what's going wrong, we've built an anchor relationship based on this kind of topic.
This episode is sponsored by Marine D3. If you want 24-hour antioxidant protection while giving your brain, eyes, heart, and overall energy a jolt of long-lasting nourishment, then Marine D3 is for you. This is my number one top-selling health product that I've sold over 500,000 bottles, and right now, 80% of our sales come from repeat customers. Marine D3 can flood your cells with an abundance of new antioxidants and nutrients that fights and repairs damage done to the cells during exercise, everyday living, and the natural breakdown that occurs as we age. After 15 years of research and over $39 million spent on clinical studies, a renowned biochemist has found one of the world's greatest antioxidants. It's called CNLP, hiding deep below the ocean surface. I took CNLP, combined it with a little-known omega-3 called calamine, as well as vitamin D3, so that you can get maximum benefit all in one supplement. I'd like to give you the first bottle absolutely free. I just ask that you pay shipping and handling. At edokeefeshow.com/free bottle, I'll have a mini presentation that will share more about the supplement and why people are raving about it. Most importantly, it'll show you exactly how you can get it shipped out to you today, just for shipping and handling. This episode is brought to you by Dormant Forces Insider. If you would like monthly big business breakthroughs, insider marketing strategies that actually work, and mindset secrets of multimillionaires sent directly to your door so you can have them in your hands and you can apply them, then this is for you. Now, you can test drive my Dormant Forces Insider Silver membership for just 1 month free. If you love it, we know you'll stay with it and let it keep you in the loop of what's working inside my businesses and the other dozens and dozens of businesses that I mentor. Why would you go at it all on your own when you can use other people's experience than just replicate what works? Anyhow, right now you can test drive the membership for just $1 plus a few bucks shipping and handling by going to edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces. That's edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces.
And thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the podcast. You can find the show notes for this episode as well as all the other podcast episodes by heading on over to edokeefeshow.com. If you would, please go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and leave a rating and review. Rating and reviews truly are the best way for you to show your appreciation for the show because they help more people find out about the podcast and decide if this is the one for them. So until next week, it's time for you to go out there, take action, and inspire the world.